Good to see you. It's been a little while.
What have you been up to? What's the last couple of months look like?
The last couple of months has been exciting. I've been following everything in the training program, putting my own spin on it, but we have been getting a lot of leads, doing a lot of projects, and then behind the scenes, I think I told you before, we're building our entire online product shop. So we're kind of transitioning right now from a client services business over web design, of course, client services, web design business to more of a hybrid situation of online product shop with some client services in there.
How long is it going to take to get that up and running, and when are you hoping to have the first couple of products up and firing?
So we actually have a few built in the background right now, and we're working on our normal big web projects at the moment. I pressed pause and actually signed up for Natalie Ellis's funnel training. And so I'm kind of like heads down doing that right now because I want to sell this through a bunch of automated emails and everything. And so what I decided is we're busy enough using your Instagram strategy that we're just up and running and doing all our projects and my team is busy. But in the meantime, when I press go on this, I kind of want to just do it right and have it transition our business the way that we run our business moving forward. So I'm putting in a little bit of planning time in the beginning to really have the strategy locked down.
It seems like if Instagram's working, then just mentioning the products on a regular basis is probably going to be enough to of a layer for it to like really take off, if that makes sense. But that so so you're thinking like paid traffic as well, like funnel wise.
Yeah, exactly. Paid traffic. We're doing paid traffic right now. We have some boosted Instagram ads going, and we're talking about what we're doing. Basically, the idea is having this really robust one-page site that we're trying to fill a need for entrepreneurs who are kind of in between, like not wanting to click around on Wix and Squarespace and all these all-in-one builders. And then on the other side of that, maybe they don't want to be spending the money on a higher end agency. I feel like there's this underserved, really just large population of entrepreneurs in there. And so we've been talking about what the product shop is that we're building. It's pretty much like this robust one-page site that brings them through great positioning for the company. That's something a lot of these entrepreneurs struggle with is they don't know how to position uh, themselves to their target audience. So we have a formula to help them do that. We build this great one-page site and it converts. It doesn't leave any questions to their audience of what to do next, how to get an action, how to start working with them. And then what we're doing in tangent with that is selling memberships. So basically, they can have different tiers of how much we support them along the way. A few years back, we realized that if we're a web design agency, why not sell hosting too? And why not sell all the support? So we just have revenue that's coming in on a regular basis from all of the old web projects that we did. And now these tiers can help people have the right amount of support along the way for wherever their business is. And we've been talking about that on Instagram. We've been using your messaging strategy and DMs and then boosting some of the posts too. And I mean, calls are just filling up, calls are coming in, and then we're really building something on the back ends. That's what you got.
I don't think I ever asked you this, but what was your background before this?
Really, the way that I got started with my company, Abe, is I was a graphic designer, just, jack of all trades graphic designer. I had a few odd jobs out of college. They all really prepared me for what I'm doing now. One was a print shop, so I kind of got to see how the production side of things worked. Then I worked as a designer in an agency, and then I went and applied for a job at a pretty high-end agency in Center City, Philadelphia. And I ended up getting a project management position there, which I was bummed out about at the time. I wanted to be on their design team, and it was, one of the Glassdoor agencies that's everyone dressed nice every day. And I thought, I'll go in, I'll work hard at being a project manager for a while of the design team, and then I'll show them that I can design and eventually, get a seat on that design team. And what really ended up happening was I ran the design team as a project manager or worked as one of multiple project managers. And I saw how an agency like that functioned. I saw how it worked. I saw how the client communication worked. And everything about that was so valuable. I'm not made to be an employee, though. I lost that job. And then when I went to be looked at, yeah, I'm seeing that. I didn't know that I was supposed to be my own boss, but I was supposed to be my own boss. And so I looked for a job for a while. I got hired in one, and when I went in for the interview, it was like an office park, like drop ceilings, fluorescent lights, the whole thing. And I just thought like, this is going to suck my soul away. So at the time, my husband had just started working remote work from home. And this was about 5 years before COVID. So
Yeah.
that wasn't so much a thing anymore. But I started seeing, I'm like, oh, that looks good. Like, I like that. And I just made up my mind I was going to work for myself and that I was really going to hustle until I did it. I worked odd jobs to make it happen. Like I was teaching painting lessons and paddleboard tours and things like that. Just anything to make it fly so that I could have some income while I built the design business. And then, started out freelancing. And over time, I built it up to have a team and be a lot more focused on what we do.
To what level of like assurance did you have on yourself that it was going to eventually work? Do you feel like it was like, no, it was just always a matter of time. I was going to figure this out, or was it kind of, oh, I hope this works if I keep doing it? Like, take us through like the internal belief. Like, how like certain were you in your ability to do it and eventually move in the right direction?
Right. So, I mean, after I lost that job, I job hunted for a long time. I think it was about a year that wasn't working. And I just got frustrated. And then one day I decided, whatever, I'm going to work for myself. And I think it was that day I just told myself, I'm going to work for myself and this is what I'm going to do. And I even remember like sending my family a message and I was like, I'll do whatever it takes. I'll drive Uber on the side. Like, I don't care. And from that point on, I took every job that came my way. That ended up maybe being to my detriment later on in owning the agency because for a while we just sat stagnant as like a jack of all trades, master of none until we've really, really focused on web design. But any job that came my way, I kind of, someone would ask me if I knew how to do something, and I would just kind of arrogantly say, yes, I can do it for you. And then for that money and make it happen. So I think it's still just a mindset from the beginning of like, I'm going to do this now and it's going to work.
And like, there's a lot about the direction that you're heading in that isn't very typical designer at all. It's kind of more softwarey in its kind of structure. So you obviously like take us through like why monthly recurring you think's a good model.
A little while back, we started doing monthly recurring, and it was because we've always listened to the market. So when our clients are asking for something, we're listening to what they're asking for. So we started building websites. In the beginning, we did some branding as well. And it was just, we would always go out and get new clients. And then when the project was done, we would pass them along. And then we started really listening to the fact that all of our clients were saying, hey, this website's great, but now can you track it? Can you tell us what our users are doing? We want to get people actually to the site now. So what about SEO? What about digital ads? And so we started really realizing like what was going to make our product more valuable than other web solutions out there. And it was offering some of these services that came on the back end of our project. So we would build the site for them, but then come up with a model where we would continue to get paid from them. Like that's a map. Hosting came later and support came later. And then what really happened was we figured out that we needed to really tailor this to be like just a few distinct packages so that we can scale it and make it efficient and profitable.
What are you doing most of the time? What you're explaining and the push to kind of these products sounds more like a product creator than it does like an active designer in delivering work. So take us through like how do you see your role now? Like, what's your responsibility as the owner of the business?
Yeah. Well, a few months ago, actually, I kind of switched from going by the title of founder and creative director to founder and chief strategist. And that's because we are moving towards more of this product-based company. And I don't do much of the design anymore. I do more of creative direction. I have a designer on my team, and I love the creative direction part. But really, I'm not great like the Adobe Suite or anything. I'm good at the direction of it. Days though, now that we're really going in this direction, I have switched up the ways that I've done things. So I only do project work 3 days a week. I do Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I'll talk to clients. I stack all my calls. What's really changed the game for me is I've blocked off Monday and Fridays now, where Friday I just do all of our bookkeeping or admin, and I've really, really focused down on our numbers. So I think about everything that we're doing. How could this be done more efficiently? What's repetitive? What isn't helping us move the needle? And that is just 1/5 of my week where I'm only focused on that. And then after enrolling in your program, I did the same thing for Monday, where I blocked off Mondays and I figured I'm only going to work on Aave. I'm just going to work on our brands on Monday. And that was kind of with the sales attraction model I think that you teach us of working on your personal brand is the way to get more clients rather than like chasing those clients. For a while, chasing different clients that we wanted took a lot of energy. When I started instead pouring all of my energy every Monday, a whole fifth of the week, into building up our brand, now the people are just coming to us, and it's a completely different model of doing it. And then I find that on those other days where I'm working with my team and I'm working with my clients, I'm very focused, like just laser focused on that because the other things aren't coming in and out as disruptions.
I couldn't do what you're doing. Like, I need to do a bit of everything every day because I can't concentrate for a whole day. That's actually pretty crazy. So you spend the whole Monday basically on marketing and content.
So I
What?
actually started up level
That's
doing
that's crazier.
I started
Yeah.
up level doing your I guess schedule that you give everyone, and I thought after a few weeks I was like, my mind doesn't work like this.
Yeah. That's. I mean, what matters is the macro, as long as it's getting done consistently. So whatever works for you. But that sounds like it's working really well for you. What have kind of some of the bigger aha moments been from a content strategy standpoint since being in the program? Like, what was like your understanding of what you need to do, kind of adapted, or how do you look at that?
It's been totally transformed since I joined your program. Really, I think what you taught me the most is put your intellectual property out there on your profile, whatever it's going to be. Find the right platform that works for you, and then just stay consistent with it. So that's really what I've been doing is making sure I found the type of post that works for me. And I do kind of like these quick and easy to read carousel posts, just tips about how to improve programming their website and do it in a way that's tailored towards these small business owners. I found an opening message in our DM strategy that you taught us as well to really just engage with them and ask them, anyone that follows, what they liked about our content. And the feedback I'm getting is just that people like these small tips. It makes them feel empowered in their business. And then the more and more they follow, then they reach out to us because it's almost like they start to trust us through the tips. And then they figure, okay, I want more of what they have to say.
So you feel like that's also kind of helping the sales process in that people are kind of, they've seen you quite a bit. They come onto a call less kind of a stranger, more of like they know you, you don't know them, I suppose. What are the goals throughout the rest of the year in regards to the new rollout? Like, where do you want to get to? Have you set your mind to like how many units of the new products you want to sell? Or
By the end of the summer, I should be done doing my funnel training and everything like that I'm just very focused on right now. I know I'm not jumping right to selling this, but we do have a full pipeline of other projects. So I'm focusing on that while my designer's building all the templates in the background. And then hoping for a launch at the end of the summer and just excited about getting it out there.
you've got like multiple kind of levels of leverage now. Like, you've obviously you're moving to more like products that are taking advantage of your IP. You've got staff as well, and then from a content standpoint, you're starting to look into funnels and ads. So there's a lot of leverage happening. What do you and like, you've obviously built a level of business momentum that not many people in your space have built. What do you think is like one idea that you have your mind really solidly wrapped around that many other people trying to do what you're doing haven't? Is there a couple of things that you think you've are like the secret sauce, or ideas that you've just run with to a greater level of detail?
The idea of having intellectual property out there, like we talked about before, has been key for me. That people can start to trust me before they ever come in. Leverage is definitely something that I've been thinking about a lot in the past year. Leading up to joining your training, I read Naval Ravikant's the Almanac of Naval, where he really, really talks about leverage and what leverage means in this day and age. And he talks about if you can learn to sell and you can learn to build, like you can take it all. And I think that I knew how to build beforehand because I had a web design agency. I have developers on my staff. So it was really coming into profitable designer and learning how to sell. And that meant putting all the expertise that I had and that I can offer to my potential clientele, my target audience out there into the world to attract them into me, and then keep building more efficiently all the time. So I'm constantly, on Fridays when I'm blocking out that time, I'm looking at how can we do this more efficiently? How can we build the systems better? And then on Monday, I'm focusing on how can we have more of a voice to our audience. And it's interesting because I came from a background, my dad's an entrepreneur. He has a very successful accounting and financial services business. And he's always kind of been in the mindset, like, give the next generation something better than what you had. And I was always kind of intimidated by that because I felt like, well, you did pretty great for yourself. What am I going to do here? But what I notice is that I have an advantage over what he had only because of the years that our businesses were started. His was
Yeah.
born in the 80s. And so leverage for him, not being out a team, getting new clients for him meant driving around our whole region to go talk to people. Getting clients for me can mean putting up an Instagram ad that I'm paying $5 a day for to get in front of thousands of people. Building a team for him, being at Elia, Peaches for me. So I feel like it's been just learning to think smarter and do it with the goals in mind of where I want to go. Because with AI, with the internet, like we have so many tools available to us now that entrepreneurs just a generation ago didn't.
Yeah, your dad probably didn't have access to these leverage models that you can take advantage of. You still have to look for the tool and figure out how to use the tool. And it's funny to see how many designers still run a design business the way that it ran in 1980. Like, does that make sense? So like it's definitely easier now if you're willing to look for the more leveraged path, but you still have to be prepared to do that. So something that I think you just said that was interesting was it really doesn't sound like you're using the status quo in the design space as a yardstick as to where to go. It really seems like you're reasoning more from just what's the best structure for things to move towards my business objectives. It sounds like kind of lifestyle, like is something in that as well. So like take us through like how do you think about that? Like do you enjoy working 40 hours a week or you have and you're looking to kind of reduce the amount of hours or like take us through what like work-life balance means and how you think about that.
Yeah. So I love the goals and everything that you have us set in your program and how much mindset is part of it and everything. But my goals have never been so much focused on the numbers or anything. They're absolutely focused on the lifestyle and work-life balance. And that's kind of been just a value of mine from the beginning. I never really wanted to put it off into the future and think like when I get to this benchmark, then I'll enjoy life, or when I get to this, then I'll travel. So from the very beginning, I always had balance as like one of my top values of how I wanted to build my business. And I mean, even to the point that a few years back when I was rebranding from Jill St. Clair Creative, what it was when I was freelancing, over to Abe, what it is now as an agency, my husband and I went on the road in an RV for a year and went all around America. And
Oh, amazing.
I had my best year while I was in like camping.
I want to do that. Was that fun? That
It
was
was great.
awesome.
It
Yeah.
was awesome. But I'm like putting up a Zoom background so that people don't see that I'm like in the desert in a folding camping chair. And that to me has really been how I've wanted to build my business. It's, I'm not always in a season of travel and adventure. Right now, I'm kind of in a season of just calm and enjoying life. But I still want to build my business so that if one morning, this past Friday, I really wanted to go out paddleboarding with my dog in the morning because I just needed some time to myself. And I always want to build a business where I can do that. And then at the same time, I see the Slack notifications coming in, my team's working and nothing's missing a beat. But to me, like that's why I'm building it. And my goal moving forward is to become more of an advisor for the business, have it really grow. And I come in for strategy and for direction in the business, but be able to kind of kiss the limits of how much I can live a life of balance while I build out this thing that I'm proud of.
Yeah, amazing. It seems like it feels like the market's very kind of 9 to 5 mentality around this in that you have to work really hard to get what you want because we all come from time for money. But like the only reason that you would build your own business is to push these things as far as they'll go and see how much leverage you can actually create, if that makes sense. Like that, it's the only reason that anybody should own a business is to completely disconnect from everything that we believe to be true about 9 to 5 life, I suppose. In regards to like, take us through how like the clientele has there been like the people that you've worked with, has there been like a natural evolution that's very obviously pointed you towards a target market that you're going for now, or did it really take like a leap of faith to kind of cut quite a few people out? Like how has your understanding of who you're for kind of evolved over the space of the last few years?
I think a lot of who we're for and who are active clientele, they align what also with with their content that we put out because as funny as it is, a lot of our sites that we do are just things that I'm interested in. So we have different industries that kind of align with my life, and I believe that that is because you're putting out content that resonates with those people. So we have a lot of people in the design space, whether it's like landscape architecture or actual architecture, interior design. We have some people in the wellness space who are maybe yoga retreat leaders or nutritionists and things like that. And so I almost think that they're flocking to someone that they feel that they can relate to because they might have something in common with. But then over time, what I noticed was the larger projects, they were also custom. And the larger and larger the high ticket project got, the more we need to start from scratch, figure out solutions to a problem that we never had before. And so now the focus over time is really just aiming for the small and mid-tier projects rather than looking to do those larger ones. I mean, my goal is to cut out the high ticket offers altogether and really just focus on those two tiers and then also those two tiers of support so that it allows for that lifestyle that I'm looking for that is less of figuring out a new fire every day.
From like the existing team inside the business, you feel like you're really trying to push towards the point that like the day-to-day decisions eventually won't be your decision at all. It's really just the overall mechanics of the machine. Is that how you see it?
Absolutely. I'm really lucky to have some great people on my team who are really just taking over more responsibility as time goes on and then they get to know the clients more like that. So I'm working on lining it up so that I can get further out of some of those day-to-day decisions. One of the harder things in building a team was really finding the right designers at first. Developers were a little bit easier. Admin people like VAs were a little bit easier, but finding the right designers, especially since I do have a design background, that was a bit more challenging. But what I notice as a designer owning the business is that you kind of need to like create your standards for design or your standards for how a project looks and almost turn that into a handbook so that people know what an Abe project looks like or what, whatever agency or business project, like what are the standards that make that happen? And then the team can run a bit more on their own. You had us read Work the System and they definitely talk about that. Like write I don't know what they call it, operating principles, but we like to do the same thing for design. People come to us and they expect a certain caliber of design and a certain kind of look. So I've kind of deconstructed those into a handbook of like, these are the things that make a site look like that.
When did you make that decision? All right, I'm doing my own thing. That's all I'm going to do. How many years ago was that?
That was in 2017. So it was 8 years ago. I freelanced for about 4 years, I believe, maybe a little bit longer. And a really valuable thing that I did when I was freelancing is I ended up getting connected to two different women who own their own digital agencies, both a little bit different from what I own now, but I just really studied everything that they did. Like, how were they making this work? And that also made it so that I didn't need to fill a full client roster while I was getting started freelancing. I would just work on all their clients. And then when I transitioned to Abe was when I was ready to make the leap of just having my own and feeling like I knew enough at that point of how to really make it a business and not just be a professional freelancer.
Got it. Got it. So in regards to like 8 years ago, what's one piece of advice that if you went back 8 years, you would go, here, if we're going to do this, be most wary of this idea?
Be most wary or something to lean into the most?
Sorry, yeah, like, yeah, be most wary to lean into this thing the most. Sorry, I should have worded
No,
it better.
yeah. What? I think I probably have two. The first would be start a personal brand right away. That was something that I was definitely intimidated to do. I kind of, hid behind the logo of the agency for a little while, and I didn't understand social media strategy. So I just kind of like was things to make sure that we were relevant if a client ended up on our social media profile, but it had no real strategy behind it. So I would tell someone just starting out, just study up on social media strategies and make that personal brand from the start, because we've been doing it just since October and now our calendars are booked. Anyway, about that never again. The second would be, and this really goes out to graphic designers out there because it's so easy to be a graphic designer and just end up doing everything, pitch decks or branding or web and learning it all. Just pick what you're going to focus on, do it in a strategic way that you think it's actually something that could be sustainable. We picked websites because they're kind of a living, breathing thing that continually need to be updated. They need services on the back end of them. To me, it felt like a smart business decision versus branding. I think a lot of designers really idealize. It's very exciting to them, but to me, I thought branding, if I do my job right, this company doesn't need me again for another 8 years or so, unless I'm just doing some collateral here or there. So I would say don't be a jack of all trades and decide what you're going to specialize in, get your niche down as small as possible, and be that go-to person rather than someone that can just do whatever.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, that's really good advice. I think that second point is just rooted in economic reality. Opportunities to be valuable. It makes way more sense to have to continue to provide value instead of, okay, we've got branding and now we're probably good for 8 years. Yeah, amazing. Jill, thank you for taking the time to kind of just share your perspective and kind of your experience in your business. But yeah, greatly appreciated.
Thanks so much, Patrick, and thanks for everything you've taught me so far. It's been great.
Anybody can teach stuff. The hard part's actually doing something useful with it. So that's awesome.